Welcome to Capital Catch-up, your in-depth guide to congressional proceedings, bills, and policy updates. I'm Victor.
And I am Lainey. Today, we are diving deep into a wide range of legislative actions, starting with some significant proposals in healthcare, finance, and energy security.
Let us start with healthcare. In the Senate, we have Senate Joint Resolution 198. This is a bipartisan joint resolution that invokes the Congressional Review Act to formally disapprove and nullify a rule submitted by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services.
That is right, Victor. The rule in question is about implementing prior authorization for select services under the Wasteful and Inappropriate Services Reduction Model, or WISER model. By moving this resolution to the Senate calendar, the sponsors are looking to completely invalidate this rule, meaning it would have no legal force or effect. For everyday Americans, particularly seniors on Medicare, prior authorizations can sometimes delay necessary medical care, so this resolution is a direct challenge to those new administrative hurdles.
On the House side, we also see healthcare-related legislation with House Bill 5347, known as the Healthcare Efficiency Through Flexibility Act. This bill aims to modernize and streamline quality reporting for accountable care organizations, or ACOs, participating in the Medicare Shared Savings Program.
ACOs are groups of doctors and hospitals that collaborate to give coordinated, high-quality care to their Medicare patients. House Bill 5347 mandates that the Secretary of Health and Human Services keep specific clinical quality measure collection types available through 2029. It also provides regulatory relief for ACOs facing technical challenges in data collection and funds an $8 million digital quality measure reporting pilot program from 2028 to 2032. It is all about reducing administrative burdens to improve care.
Another critical healthcare bill is House Bill 9470, the Safer Health Act of 2026. This bill focuses on privacy, specifically prohibiting healthcare providers and their business associates from disclosing sensitive reproductive health information, like pregnancy termination or loss, in legal or administrative proceedings without explicit patient authorization.
This is a major privacy shield. It preempts conflicting state laws and requires health information technology developers to implement data segregation practices. It ensures that withholding this sensitive information to protect patient privacy is not classified as information blocking. It establishes a robust national standard to protect patients during a very vulnerable time.
Let us shift our focus to financial protections and the economy. We have several key bills here, starting with House Bill 8873, the Recover COVID Unemployment Fraud in Banks Act. This bill tackles the massive issue of pandemic-era fraud by establishing a federal task force to coordinate the recovery of unclaimed and improperly paid unemployment funds currently held by banks or state unclaimed property administrators.
What is interesting here is that it also extends the statute of limitations for criminal prosecutions and civil enforcement related to pandemic unemployment fraud to 10 years. This gives authorities a much longer window to pursue accountability. It also provides support for individuals whose identities were stolen to fraudulently obtain benefits and reimburses states for their administrative costs.
Protecting vulnerable citizens is also the focus of House Bill 2478, the Financial Exploitation Prevention Act of 2025. This bill amends the Investment Company Act of 1940 to allow open-end investment companies and transfer agents to request a trusted contact for investors who are 65 or older or adults with physical or mental impairments.
And if these firms suspect financial exploitation, House Bill 2478 grants them the authority to postpone the redemption of securities for up to 25 business days. They have to keep detailed records, establish internal reviews, and notify the trusted contacts, unless they suspect that contact is the one exploiting the investor. The Securities and Exchange Commission must also report back to Congress within a year with further recommendations.
Now, let us talk about a highly anticipated financial measure, House Bill 9471, the Safe Banking Act of 2026. This bill addresses the conflict between state and federal laws regarding cannabis by establishing a federal safe harbor for financial institutions, insurers, and service providers that do business with state-sanctioned marijuana and hemp enterprises.
This is huge for the cannabis industry. Currently, many banks refuse to work with these businesses because marijuana remains illegal federally, forcing them to operate largely in cash. House Bill 9471 prevents federal regulators from penalizing banks or terminating their insurance just for serving these legal businesses, and clarifies that these proceeds are not considered unlawful. It also touches on mortgage loan qualifications and requires studies on financial reporting.
Another financial sector bill is House Bill 7128, the TRIA Program Reauthorization Act of 2026. This extends the Federal Terrorism Risk Insurance Program through 2034, which is a vital backstop for the insurance market. It raises the damage threshold for certifying an act of terrorism from $5 million to $10 million for acts occurring in 2029 or later, and sets a 90-day timeline for the Secretary of the Treasury to make those certification decisions.
Let us move to national security and infrastructure, particularly our energy grid. We have a suite of bills here. First is House Bill 7257, the Secure Grid Act. This requires states to incorporate the physical security, cybersecurity, and overall resilience of local energy distribution systems into their state energy security plans.
It specifically targets hazards like extreme weather, physical attacks, and supply chain vulnerabilities. The Government Accountability Office must submit an evaluation of these plans by September 2030, and the entire provision is set to expire on September 30, 2031.
Hand in hand with that is House Bill 7258, the Energy Emergency Leadership Act, which formally assigns specific energy security, cybersecurity, and emergency response functions to the Department of Energy Assistant Secretaries. It ensures they provide technical assistance to state, local, and tribal governments to detect and respond to threats.
And for our smaller, rural communities, House Bill 7266, the Rural and Municipal Utility Cybersecurity Act, reauthorizes a grant and technical assistance program with $250 million in funding between fiscal years 2027 and 2031. This helps rural cooperatives and municipal utilities deploy advanced cyber defenses.
To tie all these energy efforts together, House Bill 7305, the Energy Threat Analysis Center Act of 2026, reauthorizes the energy sector operational support for cyber resilience program through 2031. It establishes an Energy Threat Analysis Center to help the government and private sector share classified and unclassified threat intelligence. It even exempts this shared info from public disclosure and the Federal Advisory Committee Act to encourage open communication.
Now let us talk about Internet safety with House Bill 7757, the KIDS Act, or the Kids Internet and Digital Safety Act. This bill mandates that online platforms implement robust safeguards, including age verification technologies to protect minors under 17 from obscene content, exploitation, and compulsive usage patterns. It also updates privacy protections, increases transparency for data brokers, and introduces regulatory oversight for artificial intelligence chatbots and social gaming platforms.
It is a major push to hold technology companies accountable. On the local level, we also see property rights addressed in House Bill 9472, the Protecting Homeowners from Squatters Act. This bill penalizes local governments that grant special tenancy rights to squatters by withholding community development block grant funding and disqualifying properties in those areas from federal mortgage support, like loans insured by Housing and Urban Development, Veterans Affairs, and the Department of Agriculture.
Before we look at the daily record, we should note two commemorative bills that passed the House. House Bill 4662 designates a post office in Glendale, California as the Paul Ignatius Post Office, and House Bill 3350 designates a post office in Tustin, California as the Ursula Ellen Kennedy Post Office Building.
Turning to the legislative proceedings, the congressional record from June 29, 2026 shows a mix of local recognitions and intense partisan debate. While members took time to honor constituents in aviation, agriculture, and the arts, the floor debate was highly polarized.
Yes, Democrats strongly criticized the One Big Beautiful Bill Act and a new Department of Justice memo regarding the Olmstead decision, arguing these actions threaten health care access and the rights of individuals with disabilities. Meanwhile, Republican members emphasized federalism, advocating for the exclusion of Sharia law from the American legal system, and pointing to the economic growth of states like Florida and Texas as proof that voters are moving to lower tax, lower crime jurisdictions.
Looking ahead, listeners should watch out for the upcoming House Small Business Committee meeting on July 1, 2026, titled 250 Years of American Legacy, Small Businesses, and the American Dream. We will also be watching the progress of Senate Joint Resolution 198 as it sits on the Senate calendar, and whether the Safe Banking Act can secure enough support to clear the Senate.
That is all for today's episode of Capital Catch-Up. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.